Jodee, thanks for being with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. I realize we're talking millions of pages, but still, somebody hypothetically went through this information before it was released. Otherwise, some of those pages and some of the other stuff wouldn't have been redacted to begin with. How does something humiliating like this happen?
That is a great question. And I have insight from doing large document e-discovery in the opioid litigation. And what it looks like to me, based on the release of the first batch, which also had very rudimentary redactions, is that the DOJ actually did not put eyes on every document that was released. Through the process of technology-assisted review, TAR, it looks to me like there were some gaps, and because there's no way a human with eyes would have released this.
Well, yeah. Although there are some of the victims that are saying that the errors, though, go beyond a technical glitch. Among them, Annie Farmer, who testified that Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell abused her as a teenager, and she's making it sound like there's more to it than this. What do you say about her particular complaint?
I think she's right. I mean, look, so what the technology-assisted review does, and there's, just like all technology, there's really old technology too. And private law has tools that would absolutely keep this from happening. And it's expensive. The government could have paid to do this right, but I really don't think they did. And that's why Annie Farmer has a legitimate grievance. There's really no way to repair the damage that's been done. The government can claw these images back, but the victims who had unredacted nude images shared of them have almost no recourse. And it really is, it's the government committing a new crime.
Okay, so when you say it's the government committing a new crime, are we talking about simply a moral crime, or are we talking about a go-to-court kind of crime?
Well, to share a child sexual abuse image is a crime. And, if I was to get a private client who had an image shared, I would have to be very careful about the way that I would get that to potential law enforcement. I can't send it by email. There are very, very strict rules in the federal law about how you get these images from point A to point B, and you're definitely not supposed to release them as part of a public disclosure. So the Justice Department made a pretty serious error here that effectively is a crime.
Okay, taking a look at the emotional side of it, and you yourself being a survivor, what must this be like for these, now adults that are seeing their nude bodies and faces splattered on the internet by the feds? I mean, What do you think they're going through on just a personal level?
It's a level of retraumatization that has probably never happened before in the history of humanity. To have an image of yourself out in the public, it's not just Americans looking at this stuff. I mean, the citizen journalists are all over the world. And to be exposed, that is effectively, however many millions of eyes see the picture, that many crimes. And that's what the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children says about child sexual abuse images, is that every time they're viewed, that's another re-traumatization of the victim. And that's why it's so important to identify these photos and get them pulled off the internet.